Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to learn how we could go ahead and create NumPy arrays from numerical ranges. So the first thing which we are going to learn is how to go ahead and create NumPy array from Linspace or Linspace. So what you could do is that once you have imported NumPy as np, you could type in the array name equals np dot and use a method which is linspace, Linspace, and then what you need to do is that you need to define a starting point. So let's say we start from 10 and the ending point is, let's say, 20. So after that you actually need to go ahead and you need to define a step as well, and once you do that you simply have to print out the array in order to see how this thing actually works. So if you run this code, as you could see, we have 10, 12.5, 15, 17.5 and 20. So what this thing actually does is that it actually takes the numbers from the range of 10 to 20 and it divides them into equal number of intervals such that we should be able to have 5 elements over here. So that's what it actually did over here, and if you actually think over here, it could have actually divided those numbers into sequence like, let's say, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and so on. So in order to do that, what you essentially want to do is that you also want to specify an additional parameter over here, and that parameter is nothing but you actually want to set the endpoint to false. So what you could do is that you could type an endpoint equals false, and once you do that and once you run this code, as you could see, it actually divided this particular range with considering the endpoint as false. So now we have 10, 12, 14, 16 and 18. So that's how you could go ahead and create the NumPy array using the Linspace. And now let's learn how you could go ahead and create NumPy based on logarithmic function by using numpy.logscale method. So the logscale method is actually quite simple. You simply need to specify the range and then you actually need to specify the endpoint as well as the base. So let's go ahead and create a new array. So we type a equals np dot, that's going to be log space, and after this what you simply need to do is that you need to define a range. So let's say that's going to be 1.0 comma 2.0, and once you have the range, let's specify the number as 10. So once you do that and once you print the value, and if you run this code, as you could see, you have values from 10 to 100 in equal logarithmic intervals over here. So if you don't know what log actually is or what a logarithmic function actually means, you don't actually need to worry. It's actually a mathematical function, and when we actually need this logarithmic functions in the upcoming lectures, I'm going to actually explain this thing in much more detail. And also along with this logarithmic function or the Logspace function, what you could do is that you could also specify additional parameter. So you could also specify the base of the things equal to 2 instead of having the regular base. So if you run this code now all the things will be displayed in terms of logarithmic base equals 2. So this was actually a short lecture in order to learn how to create the array by using the Linspace as well as the Logspace methods. So this actually is a method which is similar to the method which we have used previously in order to create the array from a particular range having a step in between, but this function is a little bit different, wherein you actually have to pass the endpoint equals to false, or else it's actually going to divide the entire series in equal intervals over here, so that we should have these many number of elements in our array. And the next function is the Logspace function, which allows us to create arrays based on logarithmic function. So that's it for this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.